Hi everyone, welcome to an amazing, epic episode of Root of the Matter. On today's episode, we speak with Guy Kawasaki about all things social media. Whether you're just starting out or you're super savvy, stay tuned because Guy has a remarkable career as an evangelist for so many things that have had an impact on all of us and the tech community. From his 15 books to his Remarkable People podcast, where he interviews people ranging from Jane Goodall to Gary Vee, and the list goes on, to all his keynotes that he gives each year to inspire people to evolve and make a big impact on the world. So stay tuned, let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to an extra special episode of Root of the Matter. We are super psyched about this one, but before we get started, I wanted to thank my presenting sponsor, your local Small Business Development Center. There are about 17 across Northern California and about 1,000 across America. They give you free in-depth business advice, so go see your local SBDC. So without further ado, I'm so excited. We have Guy Kawasaki on the air with us. Welcome to the show, Guy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Man, well, your podcast is just stellar. I love it.
Thanks.
I'm trying to binge listen to as many episodes as I can. But there was one that really struck me. It was the Art of Perseverance.
Yeah.
And it's very small. It was very business oriented and meant for all sizes of businesses in this crazy COVID-19 climate, that pandemic that we're all experiencing. And it was tip number 10 that you had that really I thought could apply to a lot of local businesses here.
Okay.
And that was to learn a new skill, to do the things that you didn't have time to do before.
Right.
And because your wheelhouse is all things social media, I thought having kind of maybe your top 5 tips for small business owners ranging from the beginner up to the super savvy social expert would be awesome to get straight from you. So let them roll.
So first of all, the podcast is called Remarkable People. And usually it is an interview with a remarkable person, such as Jane Goodall or Gary Vee or Steve Wolfram or Ken Robinson. But every once in a while, I sprinkle in a mini keynote, and this mini keynote was The Art of Perseverance, How to Survive a Pandemic. And so this was not an interview, it was just me. And I like to sometimes pass along pure content to help people become more remarkable. So that was the goal here. And in this case, the 10th recommendation was that, now that, I don't know about you, but I've gained about, not even counting the wasted time, just the driving time. I'd say, I get back 2 hours a day. It's 2 hours a day that I didn't have before. And then if you count all the wasted time of going to the coffee shop, eating out 2 or 3 meals a day, that's another 2 hours a day. So we're talking 4 or 5 hours. So, guess what? I got a lot of time. So now is the time to do all the crap and junk and, that's negatively stated, but also some of the things you've been looking forward to do. One of the things you mentioned is social media. So some tips for you about social media. So first of all, it starts with a metaphor about understanding how most people approach social media. And I would use the online dating analogy. So in online dating, there's 2 extremes. One is eHarmony. eHarmony, you're going to find your soulmate. You're going to hold hands. You're going to complete each other's sentences. You're going to walk on the windswept beach holding your bottle of Cabernet. And life is good. The house is clean. Your kids have 4.2 GPAs. They have, 1,600 SATs, and their biggest decision is, well, shall I go to Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, or Stanford, or should I take a gap year and, go work in Africa? So the whole purpose of eHarmony is to find your soulmate, 29 fields of psychographic information to match perfectly. At the other extreme in online dating, there's Tinder. And at Tinder, you look at a picture, you say, interesting, not interesting, interesting, not interesting, interesting, not. It is that fast. And I would make the case that social media is Tinder. It is about making a decision this fast. So now, if people are making a decision about following you or your store or your medical practice or whatever, they're going to make less than a second decision on social media. And so that means you have to have two things done really well. One is your avatar, which is that round circle picture of you. And another is the cover photo, the thing that's behind you. And I think people, they have there are a lot of lousy avatars out there. Often you see that it's clearly your face cropped out of a wedding picture or a sorority party or something. And, it wasn't exactly a posed portrait. It was, everybody was hanging around in this wedding party and I looked good in that picture. So I snapped my face and you can see the groom's shoulder in one side and the bride's, shoulder on the other side. So number one, take an avatar for the purpose of the avatar. Nothing else. Some other basic things like the light should come from the front, not the back. I mean, look at this Zoom conference. I have one camera, I have one light, two lights, three lights on me. And if I were turned around and the lights were behind me, you wouldn't see my face because I would be in the dark. So that's another concept. The third thing is that with an avatar, it's about your face. So you're trying to convince people that you're trustworthy, that you're friendly, that you're competent, and not that you're interesting. So people try to conflate the avatar as something that portrays them as an interesting person. So they put in a full body shot of the person standing next to his surfboard or standing next to her Mustang or, kite surfing or playing golf or tennis or all that, but really it should just be your face, roughly from here to here, maybe even tighter. And that's a very important concept because people want to look at your face and make a decision. I would also make the case that for your avatar, it should be same across all your social media platforms. That if you look at my avatar, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Facebook, my Pinterest, all are the same because I want people to know that, well, this is the same guy on Twitter as he is on Facebook and Pinterest and LinkedIn. I don't want them to wonder, is there another Guy Kawasaki in the world? So God help you, but Guy Kawasaki is not that common a name. But if your name were, Patty Smith, oh my God, is this the Patty Smith I just saw at Twitter or not? As far as the cover photo, the thing behind you is how you tell your story. And this is the thing that communicates, it's a narrative. It's, if your passion is surfing and your business is surfing, show a surfing photo. If you're a home decorator, you better have a beautiful cover photo. If you are, esthetician, you better have a beautiful cover photo. So that's where you tell your story. So that's number one. Number two is that social media is about what people want to get from you as opposed to what you want to give to them. So you may want them to buy your service, buy your product, buy your book, listen to your podcast, but that's what you want. That's not necessarily what they want. And so you have to put your mindset in the place where, what do my customers and prospective customers want? That's what I'll provide. I may want to, promote the hell out of my book. So there's a copy of the books in my background and, and all that. I'm showing pages and all that, but they don't want to hear that. They want to hear what's in the book. What's the wisdom in the book as opposed to the book. So I touched my face just now. So that's a very important concept. So I think that basically social media is good for providing information, analysis, entertainment. And if you're providing value, I think then you earn the right to promote. So let's say you were a restaurant. Now, as a restaurant, what you want is butts in seats. Well, pre-pandemic anyway. Now maybe you want, you know, butts in cars driving to
Yep.
pick up. But butts in seats is what you want. You want people to buy food, but what they want may be to learn about the experience. They might want to learn cooking tips. They may want to know, you know, who's the chef, and why, you know, why should I think that this chef is good? And that's very different than, here's a promo code for, you know, Taco Tuesday every day. So that's the second point. The model I'd like you to use is the what I call the NPR model. So there are millions of people who give millions of dollars to NPR every year. And it's because NPR provides such great content, I think that they feel a moral obligation to reciprocate. And NPR and Wikipedia are the only two organizations that I know that can get away with this, which is, you know, they hound you for money. And the reason why they can be successful in hounding you for money is because they provide value in advance. And
Yeah.
that's the key with your social media. A third tip is that you should probably post more often than you ever think is necessary or even acceptable. The concept that you post once or twice a day and the people who matter are going to see it, you're deluding yourself, because there's so much happening in social media. No one's going to scroll back. No one who checks their phone at 4 is going to scroll back at 8 to see, you know, what did he do? What did he post? Nobody cares. So you can repeat your posts. When I post stuff, I repeat 3 or 4 or 5 times sometimes. And now, don't get me wrong. You know, another tip is on social media, if you're not pissing somebody off, you're not using it well. You know, by definition, you should piss off a few people. So don't sweat it. And arguably, uh, you know how there's shelter in place and social distancing? I also think there's social media distancing. And by that, I mean, on social media, if you notice people who are attacking you, who are telling you you're full of shit, that you're wrong, that, you know, up is down and down is up and day is night and night is day, and that, I don't know, Trump is doing a great job. And then if you just like have this repugnant reaction and you get insult and all that, you know, there's no moral obligation to sustain interaction with those people. So do social media distancing, which is block them. Just block them. Just get rid of them. Now you might say, well, you know, that contrary to freedom of speech. Well, freedom of speech is between the government and a person, right? So the government can't suppress my speech. That doesn't mean on your social media timeline you can't suppress somebody's speech. So Second Amendment doesn't apply to your social media timeline. You block anybody you want. And I guess, you know, the big picture for me is that social media is a means to an end, but you have to earn your right. And the way you earn your right is you provide value. You have to give people the way to make a quick decision that you're competent, that you're trustworthy, that you're honest. And then they have to learn about your story from the cover photo. Post more often than you think you should. And I'll tell you one more thing. So people are awfully paranoid. They're paranoid because they're going to slip up and make one wrong tweet, and you know, it's going to ruin them. Now, and I find it funny. You know, when these celebrities, they post something wrong and they take a lot of heat for it and they quit Twitter. Like, A, who gives a crap if you're on Twitter or not? B, who's going to even know? And you think that, you know, I think they think, oh my God, these people attack me, so I quit Twitter. And now they're all sad. The whole world is sad because I'm not on Twitter anymore. Nobody gives a shit. So,
yeah, very true.
You know, you have to kind of embrace that attitude and just keep going and develop a thicker skin. And as I say, you can practice social media distancing, not just social distance.
Yeah. Like one thing I've noticed, like people right now, especially people want authentic. They want real. They don't
Yeah.
want that picture perfect scripting. And so, what do you have for the super savvy uh, social media users that are business operators or owners? What would
Oh,
be your advice?
maybe they can teach me a thing or two. I'll tell you what. Nobody really knows how to use social media. We're just all making it up, and some people make it up better than others. Um, I think it's really hard to penetrate social media now because,
Mhm.
uh, if you were the first, I don't know, 100,000 people on Twitter, you got 1.5 million followers because there's nobody else to follow. And that's how I have 1.5 million followers. For all I know, 1.4 million are all gone now, or they're all Russian bots. I have no idea. Um, so it's hard on social media, and I think for most businesses, it probably boils down to two, which is if you're a restaurant or anything to do with travel or anything where you can get pretty pictures, it's
Mhm.
Instagram. I advise a company called Merge4, which has the coolest socks, and Instagram is the platform for them, right? And
Yeah.
Twitter, who's going to notice anybody on Twitter? Um, and then the second thing is for most people, it's LinkedIn. LinkedIn as a social media platform, I think is maybe the best social media platform because the probability of someone being who they say they are on LinkedIn is much higher than on any other social media platform.
Man, well, those are awesome tips and best practices, like for absolutely everyone. Um, do you mind if I ask you a couple very specific questions?
Far away, far away.
I know you have a very deep affiliation with Canva, which
Yes,
love Canva. I use it multiple times a day.
great.
Kind of curious if there might be any sneak peeks as to some cool tools coming out, or maybe your
Well,
favorite.
yeah. So I'm the chief evangelist of Canva, and people might not know what Canva is. I don't know how that could be true, but Canva is an online graphics design service. So it empowers you to basically create beautiful designs. It has democratized design. That's what we do in 2 words. And well, one of the things we recently announced is that with the enterprise version, which is I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks a month, you can use unlimited stock photos. So that, you know, wrap your mind around that, because believe me, I know how stock photo expenses can just go flying through the roof. So
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm a big proponent of using Canva to clients, small businesses
thank
everywhere.
you.
Because it's like Photoshop is tough. It's such a steep learning curve. Canva is
Yeah,
like, whew.
yeah. I mean, I tell people in the time it takes to boot Photoshop, you'll be done in Canva.
Yeah, the magic resize is like,
Yeah,
oh man.
yeah.
um, so I was going back to business specifics. I was curious whether it's in this current time that we're all experiencing or otherwise. What is the most creative business pivot you've seen? And
Well,
it
hmm.
could be a small local bakery doing
Well,
something
I'll
innovative.
I'll tell you, I don't know if this is like the most viable business or whatever, but I just love this idea. So there's an animal sanctuary in Half Moon Bay called Sweet Farm. Okay. And so they take abused animals and rescue them. And they have instituted a program called Goat to Meeting, GOAT to Meeting. So you can schedule the appearance of a llama, chicken, pig, cow, or goat into your Zoom business conference. So for a few minutes of enjoyment and levity on your boring Zoom conference, you can have a goat or a llama. That's a very clever idea. I love that idea.
Ah, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to look them up.
Yep. Sweet Farm.
Very cool. Well, I think before I let you go, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask one last question. I don't know if
Yes.
you can divulge the answer yet, but I was curious who your next podcast guest might be.
Yeah. Well, this morning it was Esther Wojcicki. Esther is the mom of the CEO of YouTube and the CEO of 23andMe. And she talks about how to raise successful kids. So, I mean, clearly she has the chops to do that.
Mhm.
Next week will be Roy Yamaguchi. Roy Yamaguchi of Roy's Restaurants.
Yep.
and I'm just I'm on a Yamaguchi swing right now. So the next week is probably going to be Christy Yamaguchi.
Oh,
No
very
relation, no relation, but we're going restaurant tour to Olympic figure skater.
cool. Oh, that's so cool.
Wait, who was it last week? Last week was Andrew Zimmern. So if you're
That's
into
true.
food, listen to my podcast.
Ah, no kidding. It's too bad that we're in the shelter in place. You might have been out on the ice.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Well, actually, seriously, like the Esther Wodzicki interview was done in September. So there's like a 2 or 3 month lag because I have so many interviews lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Zimmern was in December. Christy Yamaguchi was in February. So yeah, I mean, you can't run a podcast where well, I can't anyway, where you interview on Monday and then on Wednesday it's live, because there's be constant pressure on you. And if one meeting falls through, you don't have content. So I have 7 or 8 weeks in the queue right now.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. It's good. Nice to have some padding.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
still, there's all these last minute touches. You have to record the intro and the outro. I mean, you're going to record something for this, right? So this is, you're going to add your own thing, right? So of course I always do that the night before or something. So it still gets to be hairy. It's just, at least with my intro, outro, what I add to it via the sound design engineer, at least that's in my control, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's different than if you call me up and you say, I'm sick, I can't do your interview. And I say, oh God, I got nobody to put on. I don't have that problem.
That's good, man. Imagine you probably have a small team helping you with all.
It's one sound designer and one social media person,
Cool.
Jeff C. and Peg Fitzpatrick. And it's not like they're working, well, Peg is practically full-time, but Jeff C. is definitely not full-time. So I think a recording lasts about an hour. Then I probably hack at it for about 2 hours. And then the sound designer, Jeff, hacks at it for about 4 hours. So we're at 6. So there's
Wow.
like 6 hours to get a 45-minute podcast done.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, they come out just stellar.
Well, thank you.
They're awesome to listen to, from the
you.
music to the intros to the guests. Like, pretty
Thanks. I'm late to the podcasting game, and one of the things I haven't quite figured out is, how do you get massive subscribers? I mean, some of these podcasters have millions of subscribers. I'm not there. I don't know if I'll ever get there.
Oh man. Well, Guy, this has been fantastic.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for coming on the air with us, and we'll see you soon.
All right,
so
so
much.
everybody out there, I hope you'll come subscribe to Remarkable People. The information is at remarkablepeople.com. Thank you.
What? That was an awesome interview with Guy Kawasaki. Be sure to check out his podcast, Remarkable People. It's amazing. And be sure to check him out online. So, many more interviews coming your way. Be sure, in the meantime, to check out bryceroot.com. We have a podcast, vlog, blog, all that going on. Resources for you, the small business owner, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.